Good morning students. Today we are going to study about the environmental impact assessment. What is meant by the environmental impact assessment? Process of evaluating the likely environmental impact of a proposed project or development, taking into account interrelated socio-economic, culture and human health impacts, both beneficial and adverse. EIA, a formal process used to predict the environmental consequences of any development project. Environmental impact assessment is intended to identify the environmental, social and economic impacts of a proposed development prior to decision making. And what are the objectives of environmental impact assessment are: identify the issues and problems, where is the problem, why the problem arises, what are the problems, content with title. What is the abbreviation of EIA? And benefits of environmental impact assessments are: reduce cost and time of the project implementation, performance and human health is improved, biodiversity is maintained, waste treatment and cleaning expenses are minimized, agriculture potential, regenerational potential, aesthetic value and clean living in urban areas, decreases resources use, increased community skill, knowledge and pride. Are you benefited by EIA? Key elements of environmental impact assessments are: scoping, to identify the key issues of the concern in the planning of the early stages and to identify who is concerned and to identify what are their concerns, to identify why are they concerned, to identify what is the threshold of concern where change becomes unacceptable, to identify any possible statements and to aid site selection. Say some key issue of planning EIA. And second one is the screening, to decide whether an EIA is required or not based on the information collected. Since we are getting a large number of informations and collections from about the EIA, we have to decide of the screening method. Do you think that EIA is required? Identify and evaluating alternatives, to know alternative sites, to know alternative techniques and to know the impacts. Literature review, research, agency guidelines, field surveys, monitoring, modeling, workshops, public consultations and interview with specialists. These are the ways we can able to identify and evaluate the EIA alternatives. What are the alternative techniques to be followed for evaluating EIA? And mitigating measures dealing with uncertainty, action taken to prevent or minimize the adverse effect of a project. Is it possible to prevent the adverse effect of EIA? And finally, we have to come across the environmental statements, the final stage of the EIA process, and the reports, the finding of the EIA. Give a detailed report of EIA. The various evaluation of environmental impacts of products are by input consumption intervary, which is the energy sources, electric power, crude oil, natural gas, etc., and mineral sources, crude oil, material, iron core, etc., renewable sources of wood, water, etc., and the raw material extractions. And among this, the raw material extraction, material manufacturing, product manufacturing, transportation, use, and finally the disposal and recycling. So among the input on using, the output was the output discharge inventory or release into air, carbon dioxide, sulfur monoxide or sulfur dioxide or sulfur oxides and nitrogen oxides, release into water, BOD and COD, etc., the biological oxygen displacement. The next one, reusable resources of solid waste, polluted sludge and etc. And all these things will come under the environmental impact assessment. The environmental impact assessment, depletion of resources, global warming, acid rain and other phenomena is quantitatively analyzed based on data on consumption and discharge at early stages. Thank you.